Hello and a good day to you all. My name is Carl Mason here for Mason's Music Library, and thank you for joining me for episode 9 of Ramble Reviews. In this week's episode, we're going to be discussing the profoundly influential album Paranoid by the godfathers of heavy metal themselves, Black Sabbath. Paranoid is the second studio album by the Birmingham-born Black Sabbath, released in September of '97. Now, after the initial recognition and success of their first self-titled album that would feature unforgettable tracks such as NIB and The Wizard, the band were ready to capitalise on their newfound attention, and they would for sure do it when they released Paranoid, as it would go on to be their only LP to top the UK album charts, until of course the release of 13. Another great album, by the way. Now, this 42-minute masterpiece is packed with so much, and not even 1 second is wasted. This would make for such a well-paced and all-encompassing album experience. Now, Paranoid is a profound timepiece that explores the mainstream fears and paranoias of conflict by invoking the shocking imagery of the ongoing Vietnam War that is used as a backdrop to this album to express the implications of war not only on the people forced to suffer through it, but the wider impact for the future of mankind. Now, this album was brought out at a time where it was easy to envision the future as a war-torn wasteland, and by unpacking and regarding these fears of nuclear war, the spread of communism, and the colonistic nature of Western society, Black Sabbath unknowingly established some of the core motifs and themes of metal music. And this went hand in hand with the hefty guitar riffs of Tony Iommi and the high-pitched vocal delivery of Ozzy Osbourne that was just wrapped up perfectly by the tight textured rhythm section formed by Butler and Bill Ward. Now, these guys really demonstrated that they're one of the tightest bands around, not only with this album but with their subsequent live performances. On this album, the rock-solid chops of the band give the listeners the feeling that they're acting as one single entity to produce this record. I mean, it's just so perfectly put together, and this had a lot to do with the remarkable writing talents of Butler. Now, for Paranoid has one of the best song openings, in my opinion certainly, in rock and roll history, with the timeless classic War Pigs that draws the listener steadily into this project with the feelings of anticipation, uncertainty and excitement. Now, this song is seemingly building up to some massive crescendo, however the band bait off, and we have a really interesting call and response section where Ozzy is almost delivering a monologue of fear and resentment of the warmongering political machine, and his calls are met by that iconic guitar riff that frames his vocal delivery splendidly and builds up to what is about to come with this song, and in fact the entire album. As this section of a song, as well as with the rest of the album, we get the feeling that the fear of the future are just falling upon deaf ears, and this conveys a feeling of helplessness as we just have to watch the machine keep turning. Now, I have to discuss the next song on this track listing for sure, Paranoid, as it's probably one of the most recognisable guitarists of all time, as it really envelops the ear and forms a perfect centrepiece to this fantastic song. Iommi seems to be taking some serious influence from the playstyle of Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin on this song, whose album releases such as Led Zeppelin 1 and Led Zeppelin 2 were undoubtedly some of the biggest sources of inspiration for this album. Paranoid has such a driving feel to it, and this comes thanks in no small part to the rhythm section, as Geezer's bass line on this song adds such a focus and a pacing, fusing fantastically with Iommi's guitar playing. Now, after a while it does start to feel a little bit repetitive, but this is quickly remedied by the short, sharp, super fuzzy guitar solo in the middle of his song that cleanses the palette and helps to keep the listener's attention. Now, due to time constraints, I can only touch upon a few more songs, but I would love to revisit this album in the future to discuss what I've missed out. For right now, however, I do have to take some time to talk about a few of the more key songs on this album. Firstly, Planet Caravan, that has this remarkable ability to truly transport the listener. Now, this song is so well done, with the subtle and sweet instrumentation that gives the listener the feeling that they're drifting off into the universe. Now, this song has a fantastic contrast in the context of the album, as it comes after Paranoid, but before Iron Maiden, which is the complete polar opposite to Planet Caravan, featuring the heaviest instrumentation for the whole album, and just such a powerful feeling to it that comes from the pure collaboration between the different elements of the band that flows so well together. And once again, this album is exploring the fear of the future, as it's about a man who travels to the distant past, distant future, to find a desolate wasteland created by the actions of man. And when he returns to the present to explain what he saw, he is unable to get through to the people he is trying to save. Again, this communicates the anxiety for the future and the feeling that it's fallen upon deaf ears, and of the inevitability of what will happen to the world if we allow it. Now, as I mentioned, it's really regrettable that I can't unpack each song of this album, but I want to round off this review by discussing my personal favourite track, Hand of Doom. Now, Hand of Doom is for me the epic of this album, as if this album was Led Zeppelin 5, then Hand of Doom would be Stairway to Heaven. And I say that not because they share the same theme, far from it, but this song has that journey-like quality to it, and it represents the crux of this album. After such a solid build-up of tracks and having explored the fears and anxieties of the future scarred by war, this song flips it around and shows the very real scars of war that existed in the present time, looking at the damage the war had done to American GIs who struggled with drug dependencies after experiencing the horrors of war. Now, this gives the song such a humanistic perspective, as the song shifts from the section to section but always returns to that remarkably tight verse with the low-key bass line and the groove-heavy drum beat. Now, this parallels the band's message of war, as humans have always returned to war, and just like those scarred by it, have always returned to their memories of it. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Rambling Reviews. I have wanted to discuss this album since the inception of this channel. I am so glad that now I've come around to it. And I hope that all I've done is some justice for this album, because it is one of the most significant albums in rock and roll history, and will forever stand as a true timepiece of that evolution of metal music, as well as music as a whole. Now, if you enjoyed this review and would like to see more classic album reviews, then be sure to subscribe to Mason's Music Library and check out my Facebook, my Twitter and my Instagram accounts, all linked in the description box below. If you'd like to join the discussion about this album, why not type your thoughts in the comment section of this video, and also feel free to give me any requests for future episodes of Rambling Reviews here on Mason's Music Library. Now, as always, I'm going to leave you guys with my recommended listening for this week's episode, which starts with Led Zeppelin's What Is and What Should Never Be. And then we've got Circle by Ghost BC and Sweet Leaf by Black Sabbath. Now, thank you once again for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take it easy.